Hi, Erik Linask here at the IT Expo East 2012 in Miami, Florida, and I'm speaking this morning with Frank Paterno from Intelliverse. Frank, good morning. Thanks for joining
Good
me.
morning, Eric.
How's the show been?
Really good show. You know what? We really appreciate the amount of content at this show. It's not just a vendor show, but the sessions were good, the interactions were good. I think it represents the technologies are really coming together. Now we're able to make applications out of them. A few years ago, it was kind of bubbling around, very theoretical. Now it's a little more down to earth, I think.
That's sort of what I'm hearing from a number of people, just in general, even on the show floor as well. What's the latest from Intelliverse?
So we're kind of back out of a cocoon phase, coming back out into the enterprise market, putting together a few things from our past. We've always been now we say cloud-based IVR and ACD provider. We've been hosted, network-based, but now we'll take cloud-based, and putting that together with voice over IP and SIP trunking kind of transport layer. So for an enterprise, we're not only the application layer in the cloud, but also able to bring their centers, their offices onto the cloud. So combining kind of the carrier aspect of our company with the application aspect of our company, something that we think is pretty, a little bit more unique as a service provider.
Got it. So, you mentioned something that I think still causes some confusion out in the market. What's the difference between hosted and cloud?
We had a discussion about this a couple of days ago here. I think what we're agreeing on as an industry is that now cloud means a service provider is actually providing the services out of their data center, but for the customer, there's no equipment. They're accessing it just over data network. Hosted seems to now mean I'm going to maybe configure a piece of equipment and bring it and put it on your site and manage it for you, which I think in the past we've called managed services, but now it seems to be maybe more in the data world we're using that terminology where hosted means a managed piece of equipment and cloud means purely in the network. So.
Fair enough. So as far as Intelliverse goes, why the sort of evolution in terms of what you're doing?
Sure. Well, the biggest change I think is we're about 9 months into a change in ownership, which has been really important for us. We were owned by a private equity company before. Now we're owned by a very energetic entrepreneur who kind of sees the value in the platform that we've put together, or the latest generation of it, and is really interested in exploiting that and taking that not only further into the domestic enterprise market, but an international strategy which we've never had before. So what we're looking to do there is to recognize that there are these cloud-based applications that would be really beneficial in other parts of the world, particularly markets that are growing very quickly, the Middle East, South America, Southeast Asia. Companies are adding employees, they're adding customers faster than we can imagine because it hasn't been that way in a while here. But there's not really an availability of cloud services there. They have an awareness of them and a need for them. Now, we don't assume we're the American company that could just go in and buy our stuff. So we're taking a different approach. We're looking for partners in these markets that are in the market today as a service provider, maybe an ISP, maybe offering hosted web or email, but looking to get over into the voice services market. So the partnership would work, we call it the Intelliverse Cloud Services Partner, where we would aim to put that company in business as sort of a version of Intelliverse, where we would bring the technology and the background that we've had, and they would bring local knowledge of the market, the regulatory market, which shouldn't be underestimated in any of these places, and then be able to translate our marketing message into local language, local customs. So first target for us is Middle East, and we launched that program last October, and it's been really successful so far. We've got a couple of people we're working with already, so that's a whole new world for us, so to speak.
Excellent. Are companies doing as much as they can with their IVR platforms?
No, certainly not in IVR. Fortunately for us, IVR has been a longer history for us. We've been in that space for close to 20 years. They're doing a lot with it, but maybe not the right things. I think this pendulum of automation keeps swinging back and forth, where I think we over-automated way too much. And now that's kind of swinging back, and I spoke on a panel the other day about engaging with your customers real time, and I think it's important to know engaging real time doesn't necessarily mean not automating. It's automating in a different way. So I think companies need to think a lot more about automating a personal experience for the caller, whether that means giving them actual interaction into their account information, or be able to make payments or make changes to their account, and not just be providing static information. So that's what we're trying to push even our current customers to, and certainly talking to new customers about. New customers, if they're looking to make a change or moving off an old premise IVR or something, they certainly are aware of these and want the world. It's dealing with legacy databases and infrastructures that becomes the issue, but shouldn't let the technology hold us back, I guess.
So speaking of how big of a part of the IVR world is video becoming, is it even?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about video, and so the first thing you think of is, okay, so you and I'm calling the IVR and going through, and I'm speaking to you as my agent.
Right. We're
going to talk face to face. It's interesting, but it may not be the most useful. It's something that was talked about in quite a few sessions here at the conference was this idea of content rather than live video. So, I've called into the call center to get help fixing my stereo equipment, and rather than I'd love to see you, sure, but I would rather you push to my phone or push to my laptop or wherever a diagram and say, look, you got that red wire, let me see the blue wire. Or even better yet, let me turn around my phone and show you, what's going on in my world, and you could say, well, I can see what you've got wrong right there. Move that from A to B, and we're good. So I think this idea of video content, even pre-canned video, I mean, in the IVR world, we've always had, press 1 for the, frequently asked questions in billing. Well,
right.
I mean, what if you can actually send me a video of, what I'm trying to do?
Right.
And it really will take the IVR, let the IVR handle more complex matters. If things were too complex, for automation, we'd always say push it to a live agent. Now I think that this can expand that, and we can handle more in the IVR. And that's a good example of how automation could be real time and helpful, but not necessarily live agent. So, and that's important for customers, because the minute you start saying, well, you have to engage more real time, all they hear is cost goes up, I need to answer more calls live. And that's not necessarily the case.
Do more with what you have, leverage the latest technologies.
Right.
Excellent, Frank. Thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy the third day of the show.
Thank you, I appreciate it.